Hey everyone, Zephyr here, and welcome to my Sims 2 speed build. We are building something relatively unique today. It's a community lot with 3 different businesses on it. I'm imagining that this lot originally was a townhouse, or several townhouses that eventually got turned into businesses. So this build contains a hairdresser, a grocery store, and a little plant shop. And I really love how this build turned out. I think it's cute, I think it's multifunctional, and I'm excited to have it in my game. The main thing it doesn't contain is a bathroom, but I'm figuring that the average sim isn't gonna, be spending a lot of time on this lot, so I just didn't give them bathrooms, okay? Like, I don't care about employee rights or, anything like that. My Sims don't deserve bathrooms. It's okay. And the other thing this build doesn't contain is a second story. Even though there's like a shell of a second story for this build, it's just completely empty. So I guess technically speaking, this build could have a bathroom if you so desired. If you downloaded this build and wanted to renovate it, you could definitely have a bathroom. There's space for a bathroom. I just didn't do it. I dropped the ball. And I'm here admitting that within the first couple minutes of my video. But hey, don't close out this video. Yes, I'm talking to you. Don't close out this video. I still think this build is worth the watch, even though there's no toilet. It's kind of weird that you're so, obsessed with the idea of Sims builds having toilets that you're willing to close out the video. Yeah, I'm still talking to you. Just keep the video on, okay? The reason why I'm joking about that is because I'd be the one leaving the video for that kind of reason. Like, I'd be sitting here like, this person didn't put a toilet in their build, like do they even care? Like, that'd be my thought process. And I'm telling you, I do care. I do genuinely care. I just didn't put a bathroom in this build. And I could have just said that towards the end of the video. I could have hid my, lack of bathrooms from you, but I'm being upfront. And I think that is worth something. Now that we have moved past that, how are you guys doing? I'm doing pretty good. I made a pretty successful YouTube video by my standards a couple days ago, and I'm still kind of riding that high. The video was titled Playing The Sims 2 for the first time in 20 years. And the video is basically a parody of Sims 4 YouTubers going back to The Sims 2 and, what happens in their videos when they do that. And I wasn't trying to shade anyone in particular. I'm just saying there's a formula that tends to happen in these types of videos, and I thought it'd be kind of fun to poke fun at the content. And it seemed like people liked the video. They said it was funny. I think I did a pretty accurate representation of a big Sims 4 YouTuber going back to The Sims 2. It was fun kind of cosplaying them for a bit, and like I said in the comments, it was made with love. I wasn't trying to be mean. I was just trying to poke fun and, have some laughs. Though I do wish there would be more big name simmers who would take their time and learn, the mechanics of the game, maybe create custom neighborhoods, make sure their game is up to date, get all the right mods and CC, and show off the game, like the majority of the community actually plays it. I feel like that would be more beneficial to getting more eyes and players playing the game. But that's another reason why I'm poking fun at these videos. I feel like they could be better. But I understand not playing the game for a while and coming back and being kind of lost. It's just, I wish that some of these people made more of an effort to maybe watch smaller Sims 2 creators and, learn what we're doing in our games and maybe shout us out to their audiences and make videos that do the game justice. And in other news, this is completely off topic, but I'm gonna be role-playing in my first ever D&D game soon. And if you are a member of this campaign and, not the DM, I ask you to mute this video or click off this video. I'm talking to you, my boyfriend. Yes. Okay. So, He occasionally watches these videos, and by watches, I mean, like, listens to them because he's not interested in The Sims, but he occasionally watches them. So I just gotta make sure that he leaves so I can yap about my character. Because I think there's some things in my character's backstory that I don't necessarily want the other players to know yet. So, yeah, final warning, if you're in a D&D campaign with me, can you please leave? Okay, thank you. So basically my character isn't completely finalized yet. There might be some changes to her backstory incoming because my DM has to, like, look through it and, I'm new. I have no idea what I'm doing. So I might need a little guidance. But this is what I have so far. I'm not going to read the page and a half of biography I wrote for her, but you're going to get the Sparks Notes version of it. So basically my character is a wood elf. She's around 120 years old, which is young for a wood elf. And she's a ranger with, like, a specialty in archery because I just wanted her to be, like, an expert at the bow and arrow, okay? That's my thing. When she was quite young, like, I'm thinking when she was, like, in what we would consider to be, like, a kindergarten age, her parents basically abandoned her. Listen, I know this sounds cliche, but I'm new, okay? Like, you can laugh if you want. But her parents abandoned her and her brother for a reason that I haven't particularly came up with yet. But to give you some context about the campaign, like the story, it's basically post-apocalypse, okay? And there's a lot of, like, crazy, supernatural, spooky stuff happening. And right before the apocalypse, basically, her parents left. My character's name is Artemis. She goes by Art, and her brother's name is Silas. He's a little bit older than her. And Art and Silas stayed at the camp for a couple days, but their parents never returned. And eventually, food around camp was getting to be quite scarce. So they decided they had to, pack up their things and start walking. And they walked for a couple days until they stumbled upon two burly dwarven men. The dwarves were named Thorin and Oscar. But eventually, the kids just ended up calling them Dad and Pops. They were adopted by these dwarves. And keep in mind, this happened, like, pre-apocalypse. Like, this was even before the, like, spooky stuff started happening. Like, the spooky stuff started happening when Art was an adult, basically. She was already moved out of the house. She was meeting with her parents, like, on Saturdays for dinner with her brother. But they started to notice that her brother was starting to get kind of distant. And, he'd start rambling about religion, power, and other weird things that they never really heard him talk about before. And one day, her brother just disappeared. Like, they went to his house to try to find him, and the place was ransacked. There was, like, weird writing on the wall. The majority of his valuables were gone, and he had just left. And they formed a search party, but they didn't find him. And after the search party had concluded, Art basically told her parents, hey, I need to go looking for him. Because whatever is happening out there in the world, I think it's connected to his disappearance. Because at this point, this is when all the supernatural stuff is happening. This is weird monsters are appearing in the woods when Art is just trying to hunt. And it seemed awfully coincidental that Silas's spiral started happening around the time the world began to end. And that is basically from memory my character's backstory. I'm already pretty attached to her. I actually made her in The Sims 2. I'll insert a picture here. And I'm really excited to play out her story. I'm kind of scared for my DM to actually read the backstory because, like, what if he hates it and makes me change everything? I don't think he will. I think I did a fairly decent job for my first time making a D&D character. But yeah, I'm already attached to her. I love her. I love Silas. I love Oscar and Thorin. I didn't even read my biography to tell you guys about them. Like, this is all already, in my head, locked in. I have, like, the whole story memorized. So it's safe to say I'm fairly attached to my character. And I'll update you guys on, my D&D journey. But anyway, here we are working on the hair salon part of the build. I think it turned out quite cute. I kind of want to make a standalone hair salon at some point. I never did in The Sims 2, and I feel like it'd be a fun build. I might actually do that for my custom content-free neighborhood that I'm working on. If you don't already know, I'm working on a custom content-free neighborhood based off the Canadian Maritimes, and the salon chair is actually an object that you get in the main game. Well, open for business. And it's one of my favorite objects in the game. Like, I think it's underrated. You can actually have your sim be a hairstylist and, give townies and other sims, like, makeovers. And sometimes the makeovers fail, and I just think it's a fun little object to play around with. So I definitely want it in my custom neighborhood. I think this lot, the one we're building right now, would be a good lot for a family to own, because I just think it would function better if, like, one of your sims actually owned it. They could, properly sell the plants and other items in the plant shop. They could be a hairstylist. They could run the grocery store. I mean, that seems like quite the empire, but maybe, one of the family members is the stylist, the other focuses on the grocery section, or maybe they have an employee to focus on the grocery section, and maybe the other family member works in the plant store. But I feel like that'd be the best way to play this slot. I like the idea of someday having like a fully self-sustaining neighborhood in The Sims 2. And what I mean by that is being able to have a neighborhood where my Sims don't need to use the buy catalog. They can actually go out to different stores around town to buy items to decorate their homes and stuff like that. I feel like that'd be really fun. And normally with those kinds of businesses, people tend to make their Sims not work the Maxis careers and gravitate more towards working in the businesses. And I kind of like that idea for a neighborhood. I want to get there someday. Probably not soon, but it's like one of my long-term Sims goals. Okay, so after I talked about my D&D character for like 5 minutes, I took a break from recording, and this morning before I went to work, I decided to record some more voiceover for this video. But listening to it back now, I sound so subdued there. Like, who even was that? I just want to point that out. Like, genuinely, is that how like cozy gamers record their voiceovers for the videos? Do they just record all their content when they wake up? Because like, that was the energy I had when I woke up, and I don't think I can have that energy right now. Like, it feels like I'm faking it. But anyway, how are you guys feeling about the Sims 4 burglar update? I haven't played it yet, but like, I've seen snippets of it, and I'm excited about it. I like it when nasty things can happen randomly to Sims. Not too nasty, but like, things that mildly inconvenience your sim just adds a little bit of spice to your gameplay. You know what I mean? I'm curious to know what you guys feel about the update. Is it too little too late? I don't know. I kind of appreciate the fact that The Sims 4 seems to be trying and adding things that older players have said they wanted into the game for years. I feel like they are genuinely trying to listen to the player base and fan base, and it's hard for me to snark on them for that. Though I do wish somebody like high up in EA would greenlight a new Sims game, and not like a mobile game, not a update to The Sims 4, a brand new refreshed Sims game. I feel like I'm just craving one right now. I just want a Sims game with heart in it, like a Sims game and not riddled in like microtransactions or limited by the code that The Sims 4 has. Like, I just want something new. I feel like the community could benefit from that, and I wish that somebody high up in EA would greenlight it and bring in the right people and make it happen. I'm thinking of eventually making a video where I talk about what I would want in The Sims 5, like getting my thoughts in order and explaining it visually. Like, I always joke that The Sims 5 in my head is a remastered Sims 2, but I think there's like other things I could come up with that I would want out of a Sims game that The Sims 2, 3, 4 don't even have. So I feel like I could make an interesting video involving my thoughts on The Sims 5, but I'm not sure when that's coming. But then again, The Sims 5 isn't even a twinkle in EA's eye right now, so maybe the video is kind of pointless to make. I don't know. It's in, the back of my mind for a rainy day, maybe. But yeah, here we are just finishing up the plant shop. I think it turned out quite cute. I like the fact that all the shops are kind of like, not huge. I feel like Sims 2 has a problem where people tend to build like huge rooms for every single build ever, and not every build needs a huge room. Sometimes these tiny little builds are nice too. But the reason why people tend to gravitate towards bigger rooms in The Sims 2 is because the pathing can kind of be messed up. Sometimes if you have a room that's too small and too like tightly decorated, your sim cannot get past certain objects. So I do understand why people tend to create like big rooms in The Sims 2. But sometimes it's just nice to build nice, small, cozy rooms, and I'm just crossing my fingers that this build works. I actually have not playtested it yet, and that is completely my fault. I have this bad habit of like recording the video, doing the voiceover, and then trying to playtest my builds, and maybe I should just do that in a different order so I could like say with confidence that this build works. But yeah, if there's any like major issue with the build, I will either 1, be completely lazy and not upload it to Patreon, 2, fix my mistake and upload it to Patreon, or 3, just, put a little disclaimer on my Patreon post about this build. But I think this build should be fine, knock on wood. I didn't do anything too crazy with it. Anyway, we are getting towards the end of the video. We're going to be going into some screenshots soon. Like I said, this build will probably be available on my Patreon for free. Charging for builds would be cringe. And actually, if you're not interested in navigating the Patreon website, I also post the majority of my builds on my Tumblr if you're more interested in downloading my content from there. I hope you guys liked the video. If you did, please give it a like, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye, guys.